Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Along This Spiritual Journey. So, how to avoid the roster, aka situationships. So, one of the things that I've learned when I date, because a lot of people ask me, like, you go on dates really fast and you go through people really fast, and on the outside looking in, that's how it is perceived. But for me, I have a system that works, which is why I don't end up in situationships or on somebody's roster thinking we might have potential when really they just see me as a friend, or time passes and because there's no communication or consistency, then that romantic interest fades into friendship. I don't think there's anything wrong with being friends first. I think you should have some level of friendship and camaraderie with the person you're trying to get to know. But at the same time, there is a difference that is very pinnacle in the beginning of relationships where you have to define, are we friends who are getting to know each other romantically, or are we friends who are platonically trying to be just friends? Because what usually happens in this situation is people believe that because they chat with someone from a dating app, and then if they chat with them off the app on their phones and they're getting to know them, if there's no date, then that's just friendship energy. That's just how I look at it. That's just what I believe. In that time frame, you're just trying to figure out if this person is a decent human being and making sure they're not a serial killer. I'm not being funny, making sure that they're not crazy and that they're going to hurt you. There are people out there like that. That's what that buffering system of getting to know someone is for. So the first week, especially if you meet someone online, we're chatting for at least a week online before I meet you physically. I need to see how you talk. I need to see how you keep up. I need to see your schedule. I need to see if it's something that you want. I also like to see if you're going to put in effort. I put in effort. I want to see if the other person's going to put in effort, because after 5 days, you can tell if somebody's just trying to get sex out of you or not. Now, not implying that after 5 days, they still wouldn't want to, but here's the important key. If you're not meeting them right away and hooking up right away, that's going to diminish any chance. There are relationships that come out of one night stands. I'm not saying that, but if you literally meet that person within 24 hours and within 42 to 72 hours, y'all banging, you might stay together, but it probably won't have much longevity. You are just a friends with benefits, aka a situationship. If you continue to do that without any type of titles or going any deeper, you just keep meeting up with this person weekly, going on a date, having dinner, and banging. And it feels like a relationship, but really, no, you're just giving your energy away, and this person's going to continue to take it because you haven't given any definition or of your boundaries yet. So here's something that I like to do that works for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for everyone, but it works for me. If I meet someone in person, I will chat with them and I will probably set up a date a lot sooner to get to know them because we've already met in person. And sometimes that takes off that, edge of anxiety. But I still put them through the ringer too of just chatting for that week and making sure, like, hey, let's get to know each other. So if I meet someone and we start chatting, after about a week, I make a first date. When that first date is made, we're going to go out, we're going to do an event, we're going to do an activity, we're going to have lunch and or dinner depending on the time of day. I don't mind day dates or evening dates. And then from there, we're going to decide, do we want to keep hanging out? If we extend the date from that first activity, which could be going on a walk, just having a simple talk, having a coffee or something, that's when you say, hey, you know what? I'm actually going to go do this. Would you like to go get lunch with me or dinner with me? That's when you extend the date. That's where you letting that person know, I want to get to know you a little bit more because I'm curious about you romantically. If you just have that first activity and the person cuts it short, y'all just friends. That's it. Sorry. They might decide later, but what I'm saying is, energetically, if you want to be priority, you're just friends. If you want to be a part of the roster, go sit in that roster and wait for them to contact you. So be it. But if you were the type of person like me where it's like, I'm not trying to be on your roster, if I see the date's going nowhere, we can just be friends and keep it cordial. And if you don't want any more friends, I understand, because there are people like that nowadays. They're like, if we're not romantic, I have no interest in being your friend, because I understand when you first meet somebody, Sometimes you have that romantic interest first, and that's more important. But you do still want to build a friendship. But at the same time, you have to still differentiate friendship or romantic. Through the courting process, so many people get lost in stopping to not talk about it. They'll get the person, they hang out with the person, they go on all the dates, they have sex, they're talking constantly, but they still haven't defined, like, are we romantic or friends? Because there is a huge difference. So, not to get off track, after that first date, for me, myself, I wait about 24 to 42 hours and I will text that person or contact that person. If I can't tell after the first date, like there's one person I met right away, instantly, we connected, we communicated, we extended our date, it was great. And then we continued to communicate after the date, and we continued to communicate, not obsessively so, just periodically throughout the day. No one has any expectations of the other, and it's at a nice, consistent pace. The other person, they weren't texting consistently. There was big gaps in time of hearing from them. And after our first date, they didn't follow up. They asked no questions. They didn't even seem to care. So for me, in a situation like this, I know the answer, but there are people who are shy. And so I like to leave a little bit of space for people who are shy and don't really know. And I pose this question this way. I say, do you want to pursue a friendship that has romantic hints in it, which means we're talking to each other at night and we're trying to get to know each other romantically and we're going on dates and spending money and spending time and getting all dressed up to go out? Or would you like to be friends and continue this as genuine platonic friends, which means I have no expectation of when you text me. I'm not going to text you consistently. You might be 4 or 5 days you hear from me because that's friendships. Friendships don't care. They're just like, yeah, whenever you have time to chill, we'll chill. And then when we do hang out, there will be no romantic touching, flirting, anything. It's simply hanging out as friends, getting to know each other, and you will hear about who I'm talking to and who I'm going out with. And I have no expectation that you're going to be like, hey, I like you now. If you do that, that's your choice, and then you're going to have to go through that platonic being in a situationship and on my roster, unless you choose to understand what you want when you first start dating. Most people, when they first start dating, they're just looking for something to fill a void versus looking for someone who complements them. When you are looking for someone to fill a void, you're going to take anything and you're going to hold space for it, even if you're not meant to. When you are looking to find someone who compliments you, you don't waste anyone's time and you don't let anyone waste your time. So for me, if the person does not answer the question, I don't get upset. I just say, hey, think about it. I don't tell them this, but in my mind, I'm like, you have a whole week to decide, because if we've only met 1 week and by the second week, we've already had our first date, we've been chatting consistently throughout that week, then yeah, I think by week 2, you should know if you actually want to go on another date with me or if you just want to be friends with me. I don't think that's too much to ask. Don't let anybody convince you otherwise. If they do, that's their choice. Everyone has an operation of how they date. Mine is this: we are grown ass adults. When I meet you, I know if I want to do you. And I mean sexually. So if I sexually want to do you, that means I'm attracted to you, which means I'm going to take the time to get to know you and go on dates with you romantically. If I meet you and I don't want to do you, then you're just a friend to me. And if maybe over time something happens, cool, but that's a whole nother situation. I'm not going to start a romantic relationship with someone that I'm physically not attracted to, emotionally not attracted to, and intellectually not attracted to, or spiritually. That's just me. So even if it's a one night stand, I need to know I have some type of connection with the person. I'm not just going to hook up with some random and we have completely beliefs about life and society and everything else, and now I'm taking that energy on and I'm taking that into my body. That's the spiritual element part. It's okay to go out there and give it away, but give it away to energies that you know will give back to you. So, however you want to do it, my rule of thumb is meet somebody, first week, we just chat. After that, we make our first date. After our first date, at least a couple days afterwards, there should be a conversation of, hey, how do you think this is going? Like, you want to keep going on more dates or you want to just be friends? That way, you're opening up a real genuine space of real genuine communication so that no one feels anxiety. And as the relationship goes on, if the dates don't work, you can be like, you know what? I'm not feeling it. And you both can be like, cool, and walk away. I hope that makes sense. Love you. Mwah.